Life is a roller coaster. We enjoy the highs when great things happen. We endure the lows when disappointment and setback come. My question is, how can we grow from the inevitable setbacks and disappointments of life? Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, this year I participated in the Toastmaster International Speech Contest, and I had the privilege of advancing through to the district level. I had written a speech about a pivotal moment in my childhood when my family survived a home invasion thanks to my mom's quick thinking. It was a good speech, and I was proud of it. But most important, that speech was an ode to my mom, whom I felt had never gotten the recognition that she deserved for what she had done that night. But my speech had a flaw. It was long and pushed me close to time. So close that I squeaked by the division contest at 7 minutes and 29 seconds. For our guests, at a Toastmaster competition, anything over 7 minutes and 30 seconds disqualifies the speech. Well, I had known for a while now that as a speaker, timing has been my Achilles heel. And so, with that in mind, I decided to practice this speech with timeliness and punctuality. Our very own Ray Keaton had suggested that I pare my speech down to 6 minutes, maybe even 5. But I said, no, I don't need to do that, Ray, because there's no way I'm gonna go over time. Instead, I wanted to hone the delivery to ensure that I would stay within time. And I was willing to go through great lengths to make this happen, even going so far as to commandeer the library auditorium downstairs. I befriended the security guards and asked them to lock the doors to the library auditorium. And can you believe they obliged my request? So for several days, at least an hour a day, I would be there on the stage, practicing my speech in full theatrics, timing each and every one, until I got it down to 6 minutes, 45 seconds, pauses and all. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm ready, bring it on. And then the day of the competition came, and I walked into the beautiful San Ramon Conference Center. And to my dismay, I realized that there was one variable I could never, ever account for in my practice. Do you guys know what that is? Real people. Over 300 of them. I was worried. I said, oh man, I forgot this tiny detail. And I thought of Ray. And I said, shoots, I hope these people don't slow my speech down too much. In the afternoon, we pulled the order of speakers, and I came up as lucky number 1. But pushing aside any fear or trepidation I might have had, I got on that stage and man, I delivered my speech with as much panache and flair as I possibly could. I felt a palpable connection with the audience. So I was thrilled. Things were looking auspicious. I walked off the stage and I was on cloud 9. My roller coaster was on an upswing. But then I got backstage and the chief judge came up to me and she says, Aurora, you went over time. I am so sorry. Her words took the wind right out of my sails. My heart sank and my roller coaster went into free fall. The rest of the competition was a blur. It was honestly all I could do not to break down and start crying. I went home devastated. Not because I believed I would have placed, but because I pushed myself out of the competition. I had taken for granted a valuable opportunity, all because of a mistake that I didn't have to make. I was flogging myself for days on end, thinking of how I could have done things differently, how it would have changed maybe. Which brings me back to the question. How do we grow from a disappointment or a setback? I believe that every setback is a fork in the road where we can choose the person that we will become in the face of that experience. And if we look closely, we might find that there's a lesson for us. And I can tell you, I've learned 3 very painful lessons from this experience. Number 1, timing, which I used to think of as an annoying minutia of speech giving. Guess what? It's actually a foundation. It sets the parameter for how we deliver our message. So as Toastmasters, we must be very selective with our words. We must be concise. Second lesson, you can never fully account for the big audience effect. Ray, you were right. The larger your audience, the slower your speech becomes, especially if you're competing. When you're writing your speech, be conservative. For a 5 to 7 minute speech, write it for 6. Listen to the man. Third lesson, if you do these 2 things and you still go over time, take heart. It's okay. You're in Toastmasters. This is where we grind. There is no failure, only feedback, each of which is designed to make you into the best speaker and communicator you can possibly be. I believe that failure, the pain of failure, it's a chisel that turns us into the person we need to be in order to have whatever it is we're dreaming of. So if you've ever poured your heart and soul into something you've wanted and failed, hey, no worries. Stay on that roller coaster and keep plugging along. Because if there's one thing I know about roller coasters, as surely as it's gone down, there is another high waiting for you right around the bend. Madam Toastmaster.